Hello everyone, welcome to Momentum channel. My name is Mo, and in this video we're going to take a close look at the top 6 Canadian ETFs to trade and invest in the real estate sector. This includes real estate investment trusts and a combination of them added into a basket of exchange traded funds. So let's get into it. The first ETF for us to review is one with ticker symbol XRE or iShares S&P Toronto Stock Exchange Cap REIT Index ETF. Its last trading price was at $19.17, and it is showing a year-to-date return of overall 21.20% so far. As for XRE, if you look at its overall performance, you notice that it has the overall annualized return of 9.60% since its inception, and it is showing an annualized 10-year return of 7.15%. As for XRE, it does pay a monthly dividend, and it is showing a distribution yield currently sitting at 2.31%. We want to also take a close look at the fee associated with this XRE ETF. It is showing a management expense ratio of 0.61%, and it has a risk rating of medium. In terms of the holdings in XRE, the top 10 holdings include Canadian Apartment Properties Real Estate with ticker symbol 𝐂𝐊 RioCan. We have Allied Properties, we have Granite Real Estate, and you see the rest of the list as well here. If you look at the old holdings, just to give you an idea, there's an overall number of 22 different holdings within this XRE ETF. All right, moving on, if we take a look at the second ETF to invest in real estate in Canadian dollars, it's one with ticker symbol CGR. It is offered through BlackRock and iShares Global Real Estate Index ETF. It is last trading at the price of $31.36. It is showing a year-to-date return of 13.45%. Here you get exposure to 75 publicly traded global real estate companies, unlike the previous one where it offered you kind of that exposure to Canadian real estate companies. In terms of overall performance, you see that it has an annualized 10-year return of 8.06%. Moving ahead, moving down, if you look at the overall, you notice that the distribution yield for this ETF is at 2.39%. And in terms of its fee, if you look and compare their fee in terms of their management expense ratio, it is showing a management expense ratio of 0.71%. It also has a risk rating of medium, which is similar to the one that we just saw. As for the top 10 holdings here, again indicating that the holdings here are global real estate companies. We see companies such as Equinix, Crown Castle International, American Tower, Prologis, Public Storage REIT, and Simon Property Group. These are among the list of the top 10 holdings, and you see the rest of the list here as well for your reference. Moving on, the third ETF to invest in real estate in Canadian dollars is one called VRE or FTSE Canadian Cap REIT Index ETF. It was last traded at the price of $35.39, and it has a management fee of 0.35%, but the MER, which is the one that we are using to compare, is at 0.38%. Just we want to make sure that we are comparing all of them in terms of their management expense ratio. VRE also pays a dividend of monthly frequency, and its last 12 months yield was at 3.16%. When we calculate their latest dividend yield for VRE based on its current price, it is sitting at 3%, and I think that 3% is the one that we are going to use to have a more apples-to-apples comparison with the other ETFs that we've reviewed so far. Looking at some additional details, you notice here how VRE has performed. For instance, their annualized 5-year return is showing to be 7.47%. It has not been around for 10 years, and as a result of that, it doesn't have an annualized 10-year return. Here, in terms of the holdings for VRE, as you notice here, the top holdings include Canadian Apartment Properties REIT, we have First Service Corporation, RioCan, Allied Properties, and Granite REIT. Those are among the top holdings for VRE. Moving on, we have another real estate investment ETF, which is called Purpose Real Estate Income Fund with ticker symbol PHR. It is showing a management expense ratio of 0.78%. Its last trading price was at $22.57, and it is showing a dividend yield of 3.83%, which is paid also on a monthly basis. Now, looking at the portfolio breakdown and the different holdings for PHR, you notice the top holdings include WPT Industrial Real Estate Investment Trust. It's a US company, followed by InterRent Real Estate Investment Trust, Smart Center Real Estate Investment Trust, and Granite Real Estate Investment Trust. Again, as you notice here, the exposure is not just to Canada. In fact, about 58% of exposure is from Canada, but the rest is from US real estate companies. And these real estate companies have exposure to various different sectors, including residential real estate, industrial, retail, healthcare, and etc., as you see here on the screen. Moving on, the next real estate investment ETF for us to take a look at is no other than ZRE or BMO Equal Weight REITs Index ETF. This ETF has been designed to replicate to the extent possible the performance of the Sole Active Equal Weight Canada REIT Index net of expenses. And as you notice here, it has been traded at its last trading day for the price of $25.84, and that was the closing price for that. You notice also the 52-week high and low price for this ETF. It is showing an overall annualized distribution yield of 4.22%. It has a management expense ratio of 0.61%, and it does pay its dividend on a monthly basis. It does also have a risk rating of a medium. Looking more closely at ZRE and in terms of its holdings, you'd notice here that among the top 10 holdings for ZRE includes Summit Industrial Income REIT, WPT Industrial Real Estate, Chartwell Retirement Residences, Cominar Real Estate Investment Trust, and Crombie Real Estate Investment Trust. For the most part, they are equally balanced, as you notice here. That's actually, as the name even suggests, BMO Equal Weight REITs Index ETF. And lastly, we have 𝐶𝐈 Canadian REIT ETF with ticker symbol RIT. It's the fund's investment objective is actually to seek long-term total returns consisting of regular income and long-term capital appreciation. And if we take a close look here in terms of the price, the RIT had the last trading price of $19.09, again in Canadian dollars. It was kind of incepted back in 2004. And if you look at overall return, the annualized return, 10-year return for RIT is at 10.17%. Looking at the dividend payment, the distribution for this REIT, it is actually paying it on a monthly basis, and it has a management fee of 0.75%. If we look at the distribution and based on the math, overall distribution for RIT is at 4.25% at this time. All right, so that concludes our overview of the 6 Canadian ETFs to invest in real estate with a good exposure to either Canadian or global real estate companies. Before we wrap up this video, I wanted to also do a quick comparison review of how these kind of ETFs have performed over the span of the past 5 years based on a chart view. When we compare that to the Toronto Stock Exchange S&P 500, as well as the data of the real estate, overall real estate sector index. So we're going to go over that one by one. The first one that we're going to take a look at is the ZRE, which is shown here in the blue chart. So you notice how ZRE over the span of 5 years would have given you a cumulative return of 67.8%, which is better than the S&P Toronto Stock Exchange as well as the real estate overall index. If we hop over to XRE, you see how the numbers changed. For XRE, the overall cumulative 5-year return is at 47.5%. For VRE, once the chart updates, you notice that overall return was at 45.6%. For RIT, the overall return was at 61.7%. That's quite impressive. For PHR, the overall return is at the 5-year overall return is at 32.9%. And lastly, for CGR, the overall 5-year return is at 25.3%. There you have it, folks. A quick review of top 6 ETFs to invest in real estate in Canadian dollars and how they've done in terms of their past performance over the span of the past 5 years, and based on our quick chart comparison and chart views. I hope you found this video beneficial and you gained something of value from it. Be sure to leave us a comment down below and let us know if you are investing in real estate, and if you do, which ETF or stock are you picking and holding in your portfolio. Would love to hear from you. If you gained something of value from this video, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who might benefit from the video as well. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to Momentum channel. Here on Momentum, post weekly various videos about investing, including investing in the stock market, ETFs, crypto, and so on, as well as talking about financial freedom. Thank you, and we hope to see you next time.